What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new edition of Around the Fire presented by Bench Burner Sports, Bench Burner MMA. It's just going to be me today. I'm going to be running this one solo, and the fighter that we're going to be sitting around the fire with is none other than Juicebox Julius Walker, a fairly new addition to the UFC light heavyweight division. He has fought twice so far. He's fought Alonzo Menafield and Rafael Sequeira. In his last fight, he beat Rafael by unanimous, or I think it was unanimous decision. I'd have to look at that again, but he beat him by decision. And he took Alonzo Menafield to a war in their fight, and that was a split, I believe, and what ended up getting fight of the night honors at fight. But anyway, he'll be joining us here shortly, and we will be talking about um, just him in the UFC and just things going on with him, and he'll have a see what he has to say. So appreciate you guys. Just hang on. All right, everybody. This is Julius Walker. Hi, Julius. I'm Knuckles. Obviously, I've been communicating with you on Twitter or whatever. Thanks for joining, man. We appreciate it. Pretty cool too. Like you being from Springfield, I'm from Missouri, so it's feels pretty cool to like have local, somewhat local. I'm like 5 hours from you, but still somewhat local. Appreciate you coming in here, man. How you feeling after the fight this past weekend?
Dude, I'm feeling solid. I'm definitely feeling full. I've been eating everything under the sun since last Friday.
Right, right, right. Is the cut hard for you? I mean, is it a bad cut whenever you get down there?
I would say this one was one of the best. This is the best cut I've had since my pro debut. When I was an amateur and I was fighting at 205, it was like super easy. Like it was too easy. I was like
Mm.
not even getting in the sauna and making weight. So then I remember I had one amateur fight where I cut all the way to 85. That did not go very well for me. So then I actually took some time off and bumped up to heavyweight, and that was just me not cutting weight at all, just chilling, just fighting. But this one was really smooth. The UFC makes the process really nice on fight week, and since I had so much notice this camp, I think I did a really good job of water loading. So I was like, my body was definitely prepared to cut the weight.
I'll say the definition. I mean, just your body definition and like the way that you look prior to the fight. Because I remember you did the comparison, and it was like almost night and day. So do you utilize the PI quite a bit then whenever you're over there? I mean, did you this time?
Oh yeah, whenever I'm in Vegas, I think at some point the people at the PI are gonna have a joke that I don't miss a meal up there because when I'm in Vegas, dude, I go to every. You get a when you're a fighter, you get a $15 breakfast voucher and a $15 lunch voucher every day. So, dude, I was in that PI every day eating all the food. I think it's kind of funny because like some of the guys that live up here were like, "Oh, dude, you like that cafeteria food?" And I'm like, "Bro, they make it right in front of you. It's so good." But maybe I'm not a bougie guy yet, but dude, I love that stuff. And
Right.
then even you can even get. I didn't do it this camp, but I'm gonna do it next camp. But you can get Icon meals sent to you. So I'll probably do that for the next camp and be take something off the wife's plate so she doesn't have to meal prep and all that.
Right, there you go, there you go. So speaking of the PI and everything and how it's been in the UFC, what was the transition like from like you were in peak fighting for that
Mm-hmm.
one fight? What was the transition like going from that to obviously the Menifield fight was short notice, but what was the transition like?
Dude, the UFC is like it's a whole different ball game. Like the amount you're taking care of on fight week, the professionalness to which everything is ran, down to like one question that fighters get asked, their whole time leading up that annoys a lot of fighters is what time do you fight? When you're in the UFC, you know what time you fight because it's on a national TV broadcast. Like they tell you, I remember in Seattle, they said you're going to walk out at 6:03 p.m. and there's a clock up there with seconds ticking, and literally like the second that hit 6:03, that door opened and they're like, all right, Walker, you're up. So it's like it's ran to a T. You've got everything you possibly need for your weight cut. You have the option of working with a nutritionist from the PI to assist you with that and your rehydration. um, and like they've even got things that I hadn't even used before yet. Like I remember I was going to do a tub cut, and I told my the people from the PI, and she was like, "Well, do you have a thermometer for your water?" And I was like, "No, I've never used one." I'm probably fine. And she's like, oh no, take this, keep the water around 107, like do. And I was like, man, this is so cool. They take care of everything. And then like the rehydration is good. Everything. It's just a whole nother ball game in terms of how much you're taking care of throughout the process.
So, what was the big difference between Seattle and like the Apex? I mean, obviously the crowd, but was there like even the backstage stuff was it quite a bit different or?
It's a little bit different. Like the area that's like your little locker room, I guess, was kind of different because in Seattle it was more of an actual locker room. In the Apex, they have you and like I had actually never even been in the Apex before this weekend, and it was pretty cool going in there. They have like you're in essentially it would be like an actual workout room that you're in for the locker room, and then obviously yeah, the crowd is different. Another big difference I'd say with Seattle versus Vegas is in Seattle they hadn't had UFC fights there in 12 years. So like throughout like as you were walking around town, people kind of knew that the UFC was there. It was like actually like a thing and when you walk around town in Seattle, there are people that are actually from Seattle that live there, and then
Right.
Vegas everyone's there for, something.
Mhm.
And there's so many UFC fights there, it's not really a big deal. So like when I was in Seattle, even before the fight, people would, take pictures with you and, occasionally sign autographs, especially the day I went out and around Seattle on Sunday, the day after the fight, and I took a ton of pictures and signed a ton of stuff. And then in Vegas, I probably like, and I clearly had fought and was clear like I was wearing UFC stuff. That in Vegas, like one or two, probably like two or three people stopped me that night. So it's like, it's definitely a different ball game in terms of like how big of a deal it is, like in the local community that there's UFC fights.
So speaking on that, speaking of like fans and stuff and like running into people and everything else like that, has the transition, I mean, obviously your star is growing. How is it with like people hitting you up on Twitter and maybe Instagram or Facebook or even in person? Is it a lot different? Like, do you notice there's a big noticeable change?
Oh, for sure. Like I would say, but literally just out of like people that I knew, like almost it feels like almost everybody that's been in my life over the last like 10, 15 years has reached out to me. Pretty much all just in support since I made the UFC. And then like the amount of interaction that I have going on all of my social medias is completely different. And then even now, like in my local community, because I'm from Springfield, Missouri, and like, I mean, you're from Missouri, so you know Springfield. It's not like a big
Oh yeah.
town, you know what I mean? It's not. It's not really. It's sort of a city, but like it's really not. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
more
it's like
of a
in between. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. It's basically a big town, and it's like once I got signed, that definitely like I was working security. I stopped doing that, but I was working security at a local bar in Springfield called Billiards, and I like once I got signed, I definitely there was an uptick in like people being like, "Oh, are you Julius Walker?" And I haven't gone out and done a ton other than picking up food everywhere I go because I've literally just been eating my ass off for the last week. But like the couple of times I've walked around, it's like every time somebody has been like, "Oh, are you? Did I watch you on ESPN last week?" And I'll be like, "Yep, that would be me." So that part has been really cool, especially just because like in the community, that part is really freaking sweet.
Do you think with your star growing and like the Paramount deal, do you think that will get fighters like you a lot more exposure to where like maybe potential sponsors and stuff? How do you think that's going to affect like you and other fighters that are coming up?
The biggest thing is definitely the exposure. Like being in front of more eyes is huge. Like the fact that if you fight on a numbered event in the future, you might be fighting on CBS like in prime time. That's a really big deal for fighters.
Hmm.
I don't think a lot of the fighters are realizing like how big of a deal that is for us. Because at the end of the day, when you're in the UFC and as a fighter, if you actually want to make a living doing this, your whole goal needs to be like, okay, so as of right now, the most lucrative thing that I'm able to do is fight another dude in a cage. And in reality, I can't fight another dude in a cage every weekend. You know what I mean? There's no way that I can do that. I can't even do it every month. You know what I mean? I can do it max maybe 3 or 4 times a year. If I do it 4 times a year, I'm like freaking Kevin Holland. So which
Right.
is tough, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
not very many guys are doing that. So it's like you've got to be figuring out ways to monetize yourself outside of just fighting. And getting in front of more eyes allows you to grow your brand, grow yourself as a fighter, grow your, your social medias. Cause it's like you got to be able to get to the point where you've got enough reach and enough, like when I put something on Instagram, it reaches enough people to where businesses are like, hey, I'll give you money to, talk about me on Instagram. And I think that's the biggest thing that fighters have to be like angling for with the new Paramount deal. Don't expect to just get more money for fighting. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure we're all going to get some level of, more money. They said bonuses are going to go up, and I'm sure like, maybe everyone's new contract is going to be a little bit sweeter. But at the end of the day, dude, people have got to realize like this is more of an opportunity because I think I saw something. The average UFC career is like 6 fights in 3 years or something like that, which is just not very long. So it's like all these dudes need to be like, all right, I need to take every second I can get to maximize myself, and this is just a bigger platform to do it on.
I agree. And I think especially you talking about like average career lengths and stuff, and you and your age and the division you're in, 26 is essentially a baby at light
Yeah.
heavyweight because most of those guys are like 33 and above. So I mean, do you do you are you wanting to take your time? What I'm trying to get it to is, do you want to take your time to get to like the top 10, top 15, or do you want to get there and you know what I'm saying? Like, do you want
Oh
to take
yeah.
your time?
I would say on some level, yes. Like, because right now, because the way the UFC contracts work is whoever you fight, you could fight number one, or you could fight the worst guy in the division, and you're going to get paid the same amount of money. It's just based off what fights you are in your contract, how many fights have you won on that contract. So obviously, like I want the people I'm fighting to be at a similar stature to me. You know what I mean? Making a similar amount, probably on their first or second contract as well. That's where I'm at right now. Um, and then obviously going forward, I want to build myself in a smart way to where I'm not like jumping into the deep end of the vision. Because the thing is with the UFC, you don't really go backwards. You pretty much like once you get to the point where you're fighting ranked guys, you either build yourself to the title or you start losing and then you fall out. It's really tough to fight. Like you almost never get to fight backwards. You pretty much always have to be building yourself. And in the light heavyweight division, there's like 40 dudes. Tapology's got the rankings now. I'm pretty sure on Tapology there's 39, and that's
Yeah,
counting Brundage and McConico, who are actually 85ers. You know what I mean?
right.
So it's not like there's even a ton of building to do before you're already hitting ranked guys. Like you win 3 fights, you're going to be at ranked guys. But I'd say at least to finish out this contract that I'm on, I would prefer to, like, I don't want to fight ranked guys at a discount. You know what I mean? Because I
Right,
already did
right.
one.
Right, right. I was gonna say that
Yeah.
was. I was gonna say, do you think that fight um put like, I'm not gonna say like an expectation on you, but like put you at a level where people might rank you at a like because people have their individual rankings, or whatever, like Tapology. Do you think that people expect more of you because of how well you did with the Alonzo fight? Because you did do well. I mean, you almost beat him, so it's like,
hmm I would say that. So I thought it was interesting how big of a favorite I was over Cerquera, and what I actually think really contributed to that was Alonzo beating C. Like when Alonzo
yeah,
beat Umar C, I think a lot of people went back and were like, "Oh man, that Julius Walker performance wasn't too bad in hindsight."
yeah.
Because in reality, like I did better than C did. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
100%.
uh, C didn't really do much in that fight, to just be brutally honest.
No, yeah, he's pretty frozen. Yeah,
Like literally the third round, he threw probably about 10 strikes, and the
yeah,
second round, he just held him on the cage. So it was like, I think that led to a lot of people being, because I think initially after the Alonzo fight, a lot of people were like, use that more of an indictment against him than like a positive towards me. And I
right.
think with my fighting style, that's kind of always going to be the case because like the way that I fight, it's not necessarily pretty. Like it's not, and it's not really supposed to be. You know what I mean? I just don't have like the skill set to go out there and put on like a pretty, technical, performance. I pretty much have the skill set to try to be a bulldozer, grab a hold of guys, and you know, use my biggest advantage over them is, and it's just being athletic. So I do think that I think that was honestly probably the biggest thing that started to like raise people's expectations of me was when Alonso went and beat C.
Right, right. I agree. Yeah, that fight. I was going to say I was surprised at how big of a favorite. I think C was a sizable favorite in that fight, right?
He was
We
like
do.
minus 700 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, we do obviously breakdowns before each card, and I think going into that card, I had him. I was like, yeah, where I had Alonzo. I was like, he's just fought better fighters, and like he's a better fighter. So yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. Um, and with that, gosh darn it, I lost my train of thought. I apologize. Anyway,
Okay.
I usually have other people with me when we're doing these interviews, so it's throwing me off because I'm like waiting for these guys to chime in with questions. But anyway, man. Oh, that's what it was. So the amateur. So you talking about like your skill set. So you started fighting amateur about 5 years ago, right? That was like your first. Was
Mm-hmm.
2020 or was it 2019? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I started training in 2019, almost exactly 6 years ago, and then my first fight was January of 2020, so about 5.5 years ago, my first amateur fight.
And I was gonna say, I noticed that. So for like a lot of, especially like the bigger guys, they don't have much of an amateur career. You might see them fight like two or three times. You had a pretty extensive what, like it was like 10 fights at least, if not more, right? I think or
Yeah,
something like that.
10.
Yeah. Do
Mhm.
do you think that definitely helped you, especially because you're fairly brand new?
Yeah, well, and I needed it because, like, dude, when I started, I had literally like absolutely zero experience. Like,
Right.
I had no, like, I didn't wrestle growing up. I didn't do any form of striking growing up at all. I roughhoused with my friends. Which was that was my experience coming into MMA was literally just screwing around with my buddies, watching it
Right.
on TV. So like when I had my first amateur fight, I had literally 4.5 months of training or something like that, 5 months of training. Um, like I don't even think if you had asked me just to shoot a double leg like on a dummy, I would have had a really freaking hard time. You know what I
Right.
mean? I hardly knew how to do that. I was a white belt. And even my first like even my first like I think my first four amateur fights, I was still a white belt in jiu-jitsu. Like had no real, I was just learning on the fly. And then I'd say it was like my second year of fighting amateur. That's where I lost three amateur fights. They were all in the year 2021. And it was literally like my second year fighting. And I was already fighting like the top ranked amateurs, like whoever they were.
Right.
Like my sixth amateur fight, I'd been training for about 2 years, and I fought a dude named Tristan Overvig who was 9-1 as an amateur, had won pans at a blue belt and was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's like I think he's like 7-3 as a pro, and he fought on PFL or something like that. But no, dude, it was like I came in and I needed that time, and then after I lost, like starting off as an amateur, I thought I was really hot shit because I won some fights,
Mm.
and then I lost 3 out of 4 right there in the middle of my amateur career. And I think I really needed that because I needed time to reevaluate and be like, okay, I'm going to need a little bit more time to actually develop. I'm not just going to get to turn pro like super fast. Um, and I think that was really, really important for me.
Right. Right. So speaking of like that, like training and amateur, um, obviously you're a very good athlete, like, and I feel like that helps transition into MMA. Do you think? I like to ask people who come from other sports, obviously basketball for you. Do you think the basketball has helped your footwork and things like that with MMA, like on the stand up? I mean, because that seems to be where you're pretty. I mean, you wrestled Sakara a lot, but like you look comfortable on the feet. Do you think that helps with your footwork, coming from basketball?
100%. It really helps like things like and obviously like my footwork is far from perfect, so it's all still a work in progress. I didn't even when I started, I didn't have like a specific striking coach until like I've had me and my boxing coach have been together for about a year and a half. So I've had like I'm just getting you know, working on that aspect of the game more and getting like specific training there. But like it definitely helps your footwork a ton. Like things like learning how to pivot. I think for a lot of people that's probably pretty difficult. But as a basketball player, especially like I played a decent amount. I played all over the basketball court, but I played a fair bit in the post. So like I definitely like doing things like learning how to pivot was super easy for me. And just like things like being a little bit more light on your feet, being able to bounce around a little bit was really easy for me. And then I remember starting off, the cardio for striking was always significantly. I thought it came more natural to me. Once I had to start really getting into the wrestling and stuff like that and learning that aspect of things, that was more tough. But I'd say the one thing that basketball helps with there is in basketball you learn how to have like a good base and then from there go upward and build yourself up in an upward trajectory from a good solid base. And that's really important in wrestling, like being able to learn how to shoot, take your shot, and then turn your shot into an upward trajectory so you get lift off. I think that was something that basketball actually really helped me with.
I'd say that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm a massive basketball fan. I'm actually loved basketball before I loved MMA. So like I've been watching basketball my whole life. So like I can definitely see what you mean, especially down in the post because you have to get low and strong. That
Exactly.
would make a ton of sense with that, and especially you being a post player, so or playing in the post at times. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So
Are you
speaking
up
of,
around Truman State?
so no, I'm about an hour from Truman. I am. I'm like smack dab in the middle of nowhere. I'm trying to think of where to. Have you heard of North Central Missouri College? It's a.
Yeah.
It's a. Okay, that's where I went to college. I'm about 20 minutes from it. So,
Okay. Yeah. No,
like an
I was asking
hour
because
north of Kansas City.
I played basketball at Drury University, so we played Truman
Oh,
State
okay.
a few times.
Yeah, I think I've been to Truman. I've been to a few Truman basketball games, and I feel like one of them was Drury. I know that they played a team out of, yeah. Anyway, I think it was Drury. I can't remember off the top of my head. I've been all over the place. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm about an hour north of Kansas City, so a little bit of a drive. It's actually not like 5 hours. It's like 3.5 or 4 from where I'm at, so it's not too far. But yeah, it's pretty
For
cool
sure.
though. That it's cool though. Like speaking to somebody from Missouri, it just I told whenever I told the guys, I was like, man, it's awesome. Like we got to get to interview a fighter from Missouri. Speaking of basketball,
Hmm.
um, talk about the basketball team that you're wanting to form for the
Yeah.
UFC. Got any new names to add to it? I know you said CLD. You talked about a couple other guys too. You got any new names?
CLD, because CLD was on the card to be in Vegas, and somebody
Mm,
told me, they said, dude, you need to ask CLD to play one on one. So I hit him. I said, dude, I need you for my basketball team. He said, he said, in his British accent, he said, I'll play point guard, you know? And I was like,
mm.
bet it was, it was a little bit of a hurdle for me mentally to let a British guy onto my UFC basketball team, but apparently he's a hooper. You know what I'm saying?
I that's what me and my buddies were talking about it whenever because I watched your post fight scrum and finding out that CLD was a basketball player. My buddy was like, he's from England though, and I'm like, I know that's so. I was like, what? Do they even have basketball? But yeah,
Bro,
I was
I know he's playing basketball in the most proper fashion. You know what I mean?
oh shit,
A true British
his
gentleman.
form. His form's got to be just like super crispy. Just like,
Pristine.
I was gonna say he's probably got the pinky out when he finished shooting. No,
God,
this not no offense, CLD, no offense, CLD.
no,
Um,
CLD, we love you, dude. You're the point
yeah,
guard on my squad, so
hell
I
yeah.
need him. And then so I'm actually going to Memphis tomorrow. So hopefully and Danny Barlow's apparently gonna be at that fight. So Danny Barlow, we're gonna get him recruited, get him locked in, and then we're gonna get Cyril Gahn. Cyril Gahn's going to be on the squad. I seen the video of him dunking, and he got signed for that. And Philly Fresh, Phil Rao. He's the
Oh,
MVP of the UFC basketball game. He's a hooper, so you know what I mean. He's signed. And then you gave me the idea. WCA off the bench. He's surely an athlete, big dude. We
mm,
need more size, so he's added to the squad. And then I need more bench players. You know what I mean. And we need more
right.
bench players. We need a coach because the challenge that we're trying to undertake. I've changed it to a tournament of UFC, MLB, NHL, and NFL. And the main reason
Uh-huh.
I did that is because I'm trying to play the NHL first, since I know those hockey boys won't be able to hoop. So we're going to be able to get
They're gonna be so. Yeah, I think you guys will smash those dudes. Yeah,
easy
I'll man.
money.
I'll start. I'll start doing some research. I'll start finding some athletes up in there, see what I can find. There's got to be more hoopers in the UFC. I know there is
Dude,
some
there's
secret
got to
one.
be. I was gonna, and there were a couple like that could have got in, but I think like I'm pretty sure Austin Lane got cut.
Oh yeah, I forgot he did. Yeah,
Because I was
yeah,
gonna throw him on the squad, and then like Dontel Mays, I'm pretty sure he got cut. I was gonna throw him
yeah.
on the squad because he used to hoop. Those are two big ass dudes. But
Right.
if and then so another thing that I saw, one of my buddies sent this to me today that Kristaps Porzingis is gonna start an MMA career.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what we're gonna do? Well, my thought process is we sign him to a UFC deal. He don't even got to fight, but we need him for the basketball team.
Right. That's right. I was gonna say you're gonna make International Fight Week great again. Get all these other players from other sports. That's what I'm saying, man. I speaking of that, MMA fighting the website. I listen to their podcast. Mike Heck and Jed Meshew, they're great guys. They're awesome.
Yeah,
They talked about they want to at International Fight Week. They think that there should be a combine, like get all the UFC athletes together and do a combine, right? Yeah, that'd be sick. I was like, man, because I'd just love to see how fast people can sprint and stuff like
bro,
that.
I would do a training camp just for that.
Right, right. Yeah, I was gonna say be everybody else. But anyway, real quick, you mentioned it that tomorrow you're going to Memphis. You're
Mhm.
gonna be cornering or you're gonna be there with your teammate at
Mhm.
what's it called again? MMA Attitude something,
Attitude,
right?
it's Attitude MMA fights. Those are on they're on YouTube. My teammate's John Beckett. He's fighting a dude named Chaka Worthy. If you remember Kama Worthy from the UFC, it's Kama
Oh yeah.
Worthy's brother that he's fighting.
Oh, right on. So I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, I know Kama because he had that huge upset against. I can't remember who it was.
Devontae Smith.
That's right. Yeah, yep,
Yep.
yep. I was gonna say that's how I know Kama. I was gonna say he was cool, but yeah. So, and you said that you might be commentating. Is that do you know if you are or not yet? Or
My coach mentioned something. I don't know if they're just gonna like do a little thing, but I'm fairly certain I'll be commentating our next local show, which is September 20th at Synergy FC. That was who I won my first pro title for. But yeah, no, that I'm hoping that I get to commentate tomorrow too, because dude, that's the retirement plan right there. Either
so
that
you
or
got a good
WWE
personality.
champ.
So you got a good personality. I mean, very very easy to talk to and stuff. You're making it easy for me. I'm used to having other people here, so you made it super easy for me.
That's
And I
good.
don't want to keep you too long because I know you got to travel tomorrow and stuff. And you got kids just like me, so um, I just want to say thank you for coming on, man, and shout out to your team, Team Fusion out of Springfield. And do you have any sponsors you want to shout out on the show before we let you go or anything?
Dude, I'll try to remember some of them. Shout out to like Complete Coverage Roofing Solutions here in Springfield. They've done a lot for me this camp. 417 Muscle Shark here in Springfield, Missouri. They also did a ton for me. Helped me out a bunch. Growing Mo LLC, they're super vital. Team Fusion West Plains, Elite Fab Works, Springfield Vapors and Cannabis. Oh man, my freaking dog just attacked a triple dipper, dude. Luckily, I ate most of it already. But
Perfect timing.
that's messed
Dang, man.
up, dude. He went after the triple dipper.
Oh
But
man.
no, dude. Shout out to all the sponsors, everybody. If they
Chili's,
can find me.
Chili's, sponsor this man. Sponsor this man. Get him another triple dipper. Come
Please,
on,
all
Chili's. Let's go.
mozzarella sticks. That's what leading into the fight. I told my wife, I was like, dude, I'm gonna get a triple dipper with all mozzarella sticks, and I went and did it tonight.
Heck yeah, man. All right, but yeah, thank you again, Julius. Appreciate it. Awesome fight this last weekend. You're quickly becoming known as a fan favorite and an all-action fighter in a division that desperately needs the action fighters. Can't wait to see you back out there, man. Appreciate you so much for giving us your time, and hope to see you back out there soon, man.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
sir. I appreciate you, bro.
See you, man.